Hello, this is Essen. It's Sunday night, August 10th of 2025. It's been a few weeks since we last were together. I want to continue playing A Rope of Chalk, but first, a couple points of note. Right now, if you are watching this before the end of August, specifically the deadline actually is September 7th. If you're playing this video before September 7th of 2025, Intro Comp is currently going on. This is an annual interactive fiction competition based around introducing a preview of a game, and based on the interest level and success of those introductions, the games are later then released in full, and authors can win money to support their creation. And this year, Intro Comp involves a series of 7 games. We have .22 LR, Dragon of Steelthorn, Skies Over Steelthorn, Fey Realm Adventure, Healing Mia, The Little Match Girl 6, Resentful Revered, and Through Death New Life. If you've been paying any attention, you should note one of these is a game that is very similar to games I have featured in the past and is of particular note to viewers. So if you haven't gotten the chance to, I would encourage you to play through these games and rate them. And there may be an interesting preview of something we will at some point cover on this channel. The other thing I need to mention is that I do have a Patreon account at patreon.com/c/JEssenPlays. That way you can help me produce more content and improve my streaming setup potentially. Where were we? I have just restored my game. Let's look. We are in 0, the cave. The dimness and white noise were so relaxing, but now everybody's piling into their loud, stupid cars, and it's impossible to think in here. Exits east. I'm going to examine myself. Examine me. You take a moment to focus. You point your attention inward. The flower of your Atman opens itself to you. You remember now. Your name is Natalie. Check our inventory. You are carrying a plastic baggie. I'll examine it. Inside the plastic baggie are 7 little yellow pills. We'll examine the pills. There's nothing special about them. There are just pillows in a baggie in our inventory. Let's go east. To 1, the deluge. In a matter of seconds, you are soaked. Your clothes cling to you like someone else's moist hands, and tingles of intense sensation ripple over your skin. You are supremely, ecstatically aware of your own hot, wet body. But everybody's in a hurry to get inside the parking ramp. What for? It's just water, you guys. People are idiots. Exits west and east. Some sort of creature is shivering in an alcove, trying to keep dry. We examine the creature. The creature has a face you recognize. He sees someone he knows and waves. He keeps waving and beckoning, more and more insistently, calling out something you can't hear over the rain. Oh, he's waving at you! You skip through the puddles to join the creature in his damp alcove. I've been looking all over for you, he says. I have orders to deliver you back to headquarters. So we have the options to respond with, this weather is gorgeous, or, so who is this guy? Or, why is everybody leaving? Or, what does he even want? So who is this guy? You lean in to inspect the candy-colored clown. He leans back. You know him from somewhere. A long time ago. He seemed kind of gross when you met him, and he hasn't done anything to change your opinion since. Just because you're both aspects of the same universal consciousness doesn't mean you have to like him. Let's see, what does he even want? What are you here for? I just said, Hina wants you to come back. They had a quick meeting while you were off doing whatever you were doing. You weren't even doing anything. They had a meeting without me? I don't have to put up with this. They had a meeting without me. What exactly did they decide behind my back? Alex starts to talk, then he stops himself. Then he gives you a big fake smile. You should probably hear it straight from Hina. Nobody tells me anything, you know? Well, they tell you more than they tell me. He scoffs. All they tell me is to tell you that they have something to tell you. You wince. This is giving you a headache. I don't have to put up with this. And I won't. What? I won't go along with you. I won't comply with your orders. The monomyth says that I have to refuse the call. He sighs. Okay, I'll go back and let them know you're invoking the monomyth. See you later. He hops out of his hidey hole and runs as fast as he can down the street. Well, that's over. We look here. Can we examine the people? There are people everywhere, all of them in a hurry, all of them looking very grim and disappointed. People could stand to lighten up. We go further east to number 2, the Beast. He growls and curses and struggles mightily against his fetters, but it's hopeless. He cannot move. He will never escape. Bound so tightly with tension and anger, he approaches the state of rigor mortis. Exits west and north. We'll examine the beast. A fanged monster of prodigious size is shackled in the middle of the street, his body melting away in the rain. He is glorious. Begone from me, the beast growls, or I shall chomp thine head off, for I detest thee and all of mankind. How can he detest me? He doesn't even know me. Why is he tied up like that? Why is he melting? We'll just go with a simple number 1. You don't really detest me, though, right? I only know thee to be human, the beast explains. It was by human hands that I was given this abhorrent form. It is the human's will that I must endure these agonies. I don't think he's that abhorrent. I think your form is fantastic. The beast blushes. It's not my fault that people are awful. Well, I had nothing to do with any of this, you say. That's a lie. You had plenty to do with this. But I will reach out to those who did this to you. I will cause them to understand their stupidity. Thou must punish them. The beast writhes and gnashes. No, I will illuminate them. He howls in protest, but what's he going to do about it? He can't even move. Why is he tied up like that? Who exactly put these chains on you? My creators, human college students. After they sculpted me into being, they saw that I was too powerful, that I would usurp and consume them. They enshackled me thus, and then they fled. Cowards! You nod. Total cowards. Why is he melting? You run your hand down the beast's back. He is hard and grainy. He is made out of sand. Sand is the highest form of sculpture, the truest test of artistic skill. It is doomed to destruction. Therefore, it is the loveliest of substances, for endurance is ugliness and transience is beauty. Stop touching me, the beast barks, but you go on petting him. He loves it. Poor thing. You kneel down and scratch between his ears. Is there anything I can do for you, big guy? The beast softens. No human has ever before shown me one mote of kindness. No, Natalie, it is too late for me. I am doomed to return to elemental matter, to cease in my distinctness forevermore. But in thanks for thine tender attentions, I will spare thine life. Aw, thanks, big guy. You rise from your knees. Thunder rumbles. Let's go to the north. The fortress. A massive castle looms before you, its walls and towers barring further progress. How original. Let's examine the castle. A magnificent and well-crafted structure is the fortress, with many intriguing details. The castle's herb garden is full of delicious edible plants from distant lands. We examine it again. A magnificent and well-crafted structure is the fortress, with many intriguing details. In the stable dwell the castle's horses, as well as a little orphan girl who has no other home, and makes just enough money to live from her filthy stable work. So we can see many details if we just keep examining it. The castle's famous tavern is the Oat and Frog, where unbelievable tales are swapped and watery cordials are imbibed to melodies sung by bards from distant lands. The administrators of the Southeast Tower maintain the castle's bureaucracy with fiery drive and single-minded professionalism. Can we examine the Northeast Tower? The earthy poets of the Northeast Tower are dedicated to beauty, to love, and to heartache. If we examine the Northwest Tower, the messengers of the Northwest Tower bear missives and watery cordials to all the various inhabitants of the fortress. The artists of the Southwest Tower spend their days asleep, but by night they gaze into the sky and draw celestial inspiration from their airy visions. What else? The castle's turf maze is a winding labyrinth cut into the ground, through which visitors seeking enlightenment may walk in silent contemplation over and over and over again, until enlightenment at last is visited upon them. The well-kept festival grounds are the theater of the many celebrations and tournaments that draw so many visitors to the fortress. The fortress is home to an exact replica of the famous Globe Theater, recreated in minute detail. Many visitors from distant lands pass through the gatehouse of the fortress, bearing handicrafts and spices and unbelievable tales, and wines and fine silks and salted meats. There might be more. In his lair at the top of the tallest tower, the wizard looks over the rest of the fortress and records all that he sees. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. So if we try to go further north, you can't go any further. The fortress stands in your path. Can we push the fortress? You stomp on the southeast tower, reducing it to a pile of sand. You bring your fist down on the south wall. It crumbles immediately. The west wall faces toward lands unknown. The north wall looks out over the dangerous lands beyond, where only seers and madmen travel. And the east wall looks toward grim wastelands, toward ruins and boneyards. You kick the gatehouse, splattering it across the street. You smush the southwest tower into rubble. You destroy the flimsy blacksmith shop with a single kick. People passing by seem to think you're doing something wrong. They clearly don't understand how important it is for you to get through this castle. You rip out a big chunk of the east wall and toss it down the road. You push the stables into the ground. Now it's just wet sand. You pummel the wizard's tower into dust. You jump up and down in the festival grounds. At last you've cleared a path through to the rest of the street. You wipe your hand across the turf maze and flatten it. You stomp the herb garden out of existence. You topple the west wall with the merest effort. You slam the replica Globe Theater with both fists. It falls apart easily. The fortress is now only a pathetic ruin. Cannot see the ruin. If we examine the fortress, the castle is not completely destroyed. The messengers of the Northwest Tower bear missives and watery cordials to... Okay. Attack fortress. You kick the Northwest Tower. Sand flies everywhere. You push gently against the Northwest Tower, and it topples like a house of cards. You smash the Oat and Frog Tavern beneath your palm. You stomp on the north wall, crumbling it to nothing. Now, nothing of the castle remains. You stand upon a shapeless wasteland of sand. Let's go north. To eruption. Liquid fire pours out from the smoking crater, down the mountainside toward the doomed village. It's too late to escape, too late to rescue anybody. Everything is melting. We examine the volcano. The volcano rises high. Its plume of smoke blots out the sky. Madame Pele shapes the earth according to her whim, and to erect a settlement in the shadow of her mountain is to put oneself at her mercy. Lightning arcs across the clouds of ash, and thunder makes the pavement shake beneath you. We examine the village. A few simple homes remain out of the lava's path for now, but before long, the entire village will be a smoking ruin. It's a shame, someone says as they hurry by. All that hard work will be washed away. But that person doesn't understand properly. For eruption doesn't necessarily symbolize a complete disaster, just a drastic change, a threat to the status quo. And that's often a positive thing. Actually, the status quo is famously terrible, so it follows that change is always good. No, you can't go that way. You can go south or west. Let's go west. To 5, the throne. Papa is seated in majesty on his golden throne, surrounded by a golden cord and a veil of black curtains. The velvet rope of gold is a false barrier. The rules don't apply to you. You aren't responsible for your actions. We examine the curtains. Black drapery falls all around, obscuring the distant world and bringing what is near into ghastly clarity. We look at Papa. Papa is dressed in his purple vestments and skullcap, his frilly white skirt. His pince-nez is smashed into his forehead. His tiny teeth shine like wet pebbles in his gaping mouth. He is screaming. Papa's mouth is split wide in a piercing, infinite scream. "Hey!" you yell, loud enough that he should be able to hear you, but he doesn't react. What's he screaming about? Who cares? You yell at Papa to shut up. You yell at him again. He has no reply, except additional screaming. You're ready to start screaming yourself, but that would be stooping to his level. Life is full of little lessons like this, if you bother to look for them. You have to pay attention to yourself. You have to open yourself up to what yourself is trying to tell you. Man, I hate this guy. You are so sick and tired of this guy and his whole deal. This is really ruining your afternoon. He's not worth your time. Exactly. Your authority is meaningless. Authority is a false structure. You've been gnawing on this bone for a while. I don't have to respect you. I don't even have to acknowledge you. Papa screams in response. No, he needs to have this explained to him. He does need to have this explained to him, and you're the perfect person to explain it. Authority is a social construct, which means we all have to agree that you possess authority or you don't possess it. Papa goes on screaming, either in impotent protest or in feigned confusion. Forget it. You'll never understand. Yeah, he'll never understand. Maybe he needs one of our pills. Inside the plastic baggie are 3 little yellow pills. You offer the plastic baggie to Papa in a spirit of universal oneness, but Papa is unable to reciprocate your oneness for whatever reason. Well, fair enough. Let us check out the throne before we leave. The regal seat is topped with elaborate golden pinnacles, reaching almost as high as Papa's hat. What a goofy little hat. Let's continue west. To 6, the wrecked ship. Light plays strangely on the broken planks and spars littering the ocean floor. The shattered hull is rotting all around you. At your feet, a skeletal sailor grins idiotically in a siren's embrace. We examine the sailor. The sailor is smiling, even as his bones erode in the warm ocean currents. The slimy tentacles wrapped around one of his legs. This moron is so pleased that a girl is finally paying attention to him. He doesn't even care that he's dead. Check out the siren, a curvaceous mermaid, long of hair, smooth of cheek, pert of nose. Her eyes are cast down lovingly at her skeleton friend, and her serpentine tail is coiled into a pillow where he can rest his skull. The siren's pet shark is lurking nearby, ready to attack any intruders. We examine the shark. A dog-sized shark is skirting the area, looking out for trespassers, but it hasn't noticed you. I'll examine the hull. What brought this hulk to rest here? What doomed the sailor? Was it this mermaid? Probably. Is that a sexist assumption? Hey, how's it going? When we tried to talk to the sailor. No response. Whatever. We try talking to the siren. Hey, you wave to the siren, but she doesn't respond. You snap your fingers in front of her face. She doesn't even look up. Is she even real? Are mermaids real? We continue north to 7, the gate. The warm rain is gone. Now frigid air conditioning flows over you, and you shiver like one near death. The vestibule of the Honors Center is liminal space, not quite within or without. Nothing good ever happens in liminal spaces. Exits. South. Oh. Hina is here. I examine Hina. Hina is almost as soaked as you are. And although she always looks serious and often looks angry, you've never seen her as serious or as angry as she is now. Demonic flames are burning in her eyes, and she is stomping straight at you. Where in the heck have you been? She snarls. Our options are, well, you can't tell her you were getting high in the parking ramp. Oh no, she already knows. She does not. Calm down. No, look how angry she is. She definitely knows. She has no idea. Just act normal and she won't be able to tell. Let's try... Three. She does not. Calm down. I was taking a little break. You were gone for like 2 hours. Huh. I guess I lost track of time. Very calm response. You're doing great. Hina's forehead wrinkle puckers. It's your sand sculpture contest. I would expect you to take some responsibility for it. I took plenty of responsibility for it. That's why I needed a break. Well, while you were taking your break, the rest of the arts committee talked it over, and we don't think we should do sand sculpture again next year. They can't do that. They can't cancel my event without consulting me. Just because it rained? I'll complain to the faculty advisor. What was her name again? Just because it rained? You understand that it's not going to rain like this next year, right? It's not about the weather. We all agreed that sand sculpture was too expensive and dangerous. Somebody got cut with a shovel pretty bad. You gave up because one guy had an accident? No. She steels herself. We also heard from a lot of participants that it was too much work. Shoveling all that sand and pouring all that water is really exhausting, and it's supposed to be fun. A sudden peal of thunder punctuates Hina's treachery. It is fun. These people are just too stupid and lazy to appreciate it. What are they going to do instead? Finger painting? Well, they can do it without me. So what are you going to do next year? Finger painting? Sidewalk chalk? Hina pauses. Finger painting sounds kind of cool, actually. You try hard not to scream. This is supposed to be an honors program. We're supposed to hold up a higher standard than the rest of these idiots. We're supposed to be elevating people's consciousness. Hina looks at you carefully. She's examining your eyes. Uh-oh. Natalie, are you feeling okay? She knows. She's going to report you. There's still time to deny it. No, just own up to it. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't ask if you were doing anything. She's got you there. Look, I was just taking some of these. You pull out your baggie. Just to relax. It's not a big deal, but don't tell anyone. Hina examines the pills. Hey, why are there only 2 left? Is this episcophycetin? She asks. You roll your eyes. Nobody calls it that. The outside door of the vestibule opens and Alec blusters in. Hey, Hina, he says cheerily. Look, I found Natalie. Press any key to continue. Your rate for destroying artwork is 58.65%. Chapter 4, Kjeldheim. In eternal winters of grass rests icy Kjeldheim, Where was raised snow-heavy Byringsburg, throne of Careth, bearer of the pallid crown. Long has Careth reigned in peace. Long have his enemies waited to rise up in war against him. Episcophoseton, commonly known as Joan or Klasvac, is a psychoactive drug primarily used for recreational purposes. Its effects include altered perceptions and sensory hallucinations, often accompanied by intense changes in mood, such as euphoria, depression, or paranoia. You can go northeast, or east, or southeast, or southwest, or west, or northwest. Let's examine Kjeldheim. Kjeldheim is all around you. We try looking at a throne. It says you can't see that here. Or maybe this is a problem with those weird letters. Try thinking about it without using any weird letters. Let's go east. The swordwright of Brideblade and Gjoldrich in the snow-lapped valley Milkas dwelt. The Elder she was known by men, well thought of by war-makers. Episcophoseton is usually consumed orally in tablet form. It is also dissolved in water to counteract its dehydrating properties. However, continued ingestion of Episcophoseton-laced water has been shown to increase the likelihood of syncope, hyponatremia, and other possibly life-threatening side effects. You can go southeast, or east, or west, or southwest, or north, or northeast, or northwest. Let's go east from here. Offleck raised this thringstone when Rorkus was crown-bearer. Beneath the thringstone was Offleck crushed when Rorkus was by Nagel slain. Although it lacks the electrolytes necessary to restore sodium concentration, drinking unadulterated water has been shown to reduce the hallucinogenic effects of Episcophoseton, as well as to treat dehydration. You can go all those directions that you were just thinking about a second ago. We continue east to... Oh, in that direction lies the Dark Sea, and beyond that lie lands utterly unknown. Are you sure you want to keep going? No. Let's go... Let's say no. Then you must wander the Isle of Kjeldheim forever. Let's go southeast? No. Let's go south? No. 6 are the directions permitted in Kjeldheim. Northeast, east, southeast, southwest, west, and northwest are these, and no others. So you can't go north or south. You can only go in hexagonal directions. Southwest from here is... Upon the eastern shore of Kjeldheim stands the village Tithing, merriment of mead drinkers. Here Dragard and Hjorpthict dwell, forgers of the Rosax Fellowcreis and the Windhelm Beitrende. Your head hurts. You can go west or southwest or northwest or east or southwest. East or southeast or southwest, but you can't go north. You cannot go north. I try going north. No, it's same as before. Let's go southwest again. Over the plain of Griork wanders the spirit Lickgithor, ghost of Norgelt, slain by the hell steed Rioskig, ridden by Ignored, vassal of Kerfek. Episcophoseton is a chiral compound and is produced as a racemic mixture. Differences in kinetics have been noted between the two enantiomers, with the R enantiomer having a shorter elimination half-life and greater excretion than the S enantiomer. You can go west or east or southwest or southeast or northwest or northeast. Southwest again. There is the Dark Sea. There is so much to explore here. I highly encourage you to play yourself so that you can explore this, and I do not have to struggle with these names. I'm going to keep going. Then you continue on past the shores of Kjeldheim, across the sharp-toothed sea, over the edge of the world. And then you rise up into the air. The kingdom of Kjeldheim. You are floating above the icy realm of Kjeldheim. You must be very high indeed. You can take in the entire island in a glance. Other lands lie north and east of here, if you remember correctly. Natalie's unsuccessful sand sculpture event took place on August 28th, 2010. Today is August 27th, 2011. You might be a bit loopy, but you're still lucid enough to do basic math. Natalie has been plotting her revenge for 8,647 days. That seems off. Caring nothing, examine me. You try to focus. Your head is killing you, and your face is sore from dragging it across the kingdom of Kjeldheim. Before that, you were in charge of a sidewalk chalk tournament, but it hasn't turned out very well. Let's examine the island. Beneath you is the island Kjeldheim, its fearsome monsters and its bold warriors, its earls and peasants, its frost-encrusted cairns, and all of it divided neatly into hexagonal fiefdoms. You know it well, but right now other worlds require your attention. Some distance south of Kjeldheim, in the void beyond the edge of the ocean, the Titan rests on his great beam. We examine the Titan. The Titan is asleep, unconscious, comatose. We examine the beam. The Titan who brought all of Kjeldheim into existence, having completed his vast undertaking, fell into a deep sleep upon this uncomfortable-looking beam. Okay, well, so we are still at the chalk tournament. Let's go east from here. Your legs feel so heavy, but you have to keep going. Your path seems to stretch out longer and longer with each step. The trail ahead twists and swerves, rolling up and down over sinuous hills, until you finally reach a spindly fence of wrought iron and a crooked stone gate, and a tall man spreading wide his spider-like arms. Greetings! Greetings! I'm so pleased that you've joined us. But I should introduce myself. My name is Jack. I have the honor of serving as our little burg's representative, a cultural ambassador of sorts. And who might you be, my dear girl? It's nice to meet you, Jack, you say, without thinking. You're too tired to think. I'm Hina. He takes you by the hand and leads you through the gateway. Well then, Hina, let me welcome you to Halloween Town. Halloween Town. A yellow moon hangs low over the pumpkin fields and graveyard. The denizens of Halloween Town are out in force, cavorting through the streets and across the countryside, toothy grins on every face. A hulking man with an axe lodged in his skull trudges toward you, and mercifully he keeps trudging past you. Sally the ragdoll sits on the hillside, brushing her hair and staring at the moon. Beryl, the trick-or-treater, pops his head up from behind a tombstone. The twisting road that skirts the city limit runs east and west. Please stay and have a look around, says Jack. We so rarely have visitors. Let's check Jack out. Jack Skellington is a dapper gentleman in a black suit and tails and black bow tie. Despite his extremely lanky arms and legs, he moves with balletic grace. You can see why Faye likes him. His teeth are a little yellow, yes, and he's a skeleton, but he's a very charming skeleton. We should talk to him. We talk to Jack. Jack takes a seat on a chipped sarcophagus and invites you to join him. Now then, what can your tour guide do for you? Let's ask him about the town. What specifically do you want to ask about? Are things normally like this? Is the town always so... You struggle for the right word. Boisterous? Oh, no, no, no. Jack wags a finger. We have lots of work to do, all year long, but it is essential to set aside time for recreation. I've learned this lesson many times. Being too focused on your work can have drastic consequences. Mistakes start to creep in, not to mention consequences for your personal life. You know where he's coming from. Any other questions? What do you guys do here? Jack leans in with his hands on his knees. He looks just like a stick insect. An excellent question. Tell me, Hina, back home, do you have a holiday called Halloween? Yes. And have you ever wondered where Halloween comes from? I guess not. Well, it comes from here. We spend all year making Halloween. Jack cackles gleefully. And I think you'll find we've gotten very good at it. Any other questions? Never mind. Let's learn more about him. What's his job? So what do you do when you're not being a cultural ambassador? It is my honor to serve as Halloween Town's Pumpkin King, the master of ceremonies at our annual celebration. And during the rest of the year, well, you might call me a creative director. I'm always developing new ideas. What kind of ideas? Why, my dear, he raises his arms theatrically, and his skull stretches into a wicked grin. Ideas for how to scare the dickens out of people. Any other questions? Why Skellington? Why is your name Skellington and not, skeleton? Jack slaps his knee. What a question! I quite admire your investigative instincts, Hina. It happens that my great-great-grandfather hailed from the village of Skellington, quite some distance from here. He gestures vaguely. Of course, he was a skeleton, too. Well, let us tell him what's going on with us. Jack seems nice, but would he really care about your problems? What good would it do to burden him with details of all your troubles? It would be cruel, in fact. It would ruin his week. You breathe a heavy sigh. What's wrong? Asks Jack. You try to construct a non-committal answer. I've just been under a lot of stress lately. He nods. He presses his distal phalanges together. Why don't you tell me all about it? All right, fine, but where to begin? I think we should begin with the sidewalk chalk tournament. You take a deep breath. I volunteered to coordinate the Honors Arts event to begin the fall semester. I thought sidewalk chalk would be fun, right? We'd get to be outside, but it wouldn't be like sand sculpture where everyone was spending all their time shoveling. It would be totally casual, just a way to decompress. But nobody signed up. I had to beg everyone to come, and then I had to beg Lane and Alec to be judges. The only person who actually volunteered to help was Natalie, and she specifically wanted to be the hydration officer, and I should have guessed that something shady was going on. But I was so busy with the beginning of the semester and everything, I couldn't pay attention to anything. I completely forgot about prizes. I kept calling it a tournament, and I never once thought about prizes. I call it a tournament, but we have just 6 people actually participating. Then Jonathan tells me that Alec can't be a judge because he has his weird relationship with Jessica, so I have to coach Alec on what scores he's allowed to give. Oh my gosh, if anyone finds out, they'll be so mad. The whole judging system is a complete farce. And then Xavier thinks it's cool to draw. He drew, it's porn, basically, on a public sidewalk. This is the honors program. And then Lane fainted, and I assume she was just dehydrated, which would be bad enough. But everyone else starts going all goofy, and I realize Natalie has made it her mission to ruin the sidewalk chalk tournament, because it wasn't already ruined enough, and I can't fix anything. There's no coming back from this. I'm a failure. You bury your face in your hands. Jack Skellington wraps his arms around you in an extremely uncomfortable hug. Then he says, in a soft, warm voice, "Let me tell you a story." We'll let him tell us a story. He takes a deep breath. You must understand, I've been the Pumpkin King for a very, very long time. I've coordinated more Halloween productions than I can count. And if you will forgive a lapse in modesty, I've gotten very good at it. I grew so tired of Halloween, of the same old thing every year. I wanted to try something different. So I presented my associates with a pitch for a new kind of project. Something none of us had ever attempted. Something completely new. Well, not exactly. I more or less copied someone else's idea. But it was new to us, and we were all so excited. We took to it with twice the fervor of our Halloween preparations. We pulled out all the stops. We innovated, really innovated, for the first time in years. And then the night came for us to put it all into action. It was a catastrophe. Our audience wasn't at all prepared for our avant-garde sensibility, and they responded incredibly poorly. Nobody could have predicted that things could go so horribly wrong. His face falls. That's not true. Sally told me it would be a disaster, and I refused to listen to her. But I don't think even Sally had any idea how bad it would get. They actually shot me out of the sky with a missile. It wasn't until I pulled myself out of the smoking wreckage that I realized how utterly I had failed. I felt just like you're feeling now. Suddenly, I was painfully aware of all the mistakes I had been blind to until that moment. All my hubris. I wanted to crawl into a hole and wither away. But something else occurred to me. I hadn't withered away quite yet. I was still Jack the Pumpkin King, and I had something I didn't have before. What was that? Why, my tragic, Ruinous, monumental, calamitous failure, Hina. I had experienced failure on a level few could ever hope to recreate. And when I decided to make that disaster a part of me, instead of collapsing beneath it and admitting defeat, I was a new man. I was the Jack Skellington who had been shot out of the sky with a missile, and I was brimming with new ideas, let me tell you. The next Halloween was one for the record books. Of course, first I had to clean up the horrible mess I had made, but that became much easier after I accepted and internalized my horrible failure. So, based on my experience, he says at last, I think you're going to come out of this in fine form. You dab at your eyes with your shirt. We're still in Halloween Town. Still the same figures with the twisting road. Jack Skellington watches over the scene with his own satisfied smile. Let's examine denizens. Nope, can't examine denizens. Let's examine Beryl. Beryl wears a round skull mask to cover his round, toothy, sunken-eyed face. And a vampire. The vampires are of different heights and shapes, but they all have the same glassy eyes and cyanotic skin, and they all have widow's peaks. Can we examine the demon? Besides its yellow eyes and 360-degree mouth, the demon has 3 striped tentacles coming out of its head. Where do they come up with this stuff? Is Sally still around? Sally seems lost in a world of her own. Her big, sad eyes remind you of Faye's. The seams holding her arms and legs together are kind of unnerving. Jack leans down slowly, fluttering his bony fingers in anticipation. So, what do you think of our little town? Give him your opinion of Halloween Town. Well, what opinion will you give? I think the town is deeply creepy. I think it's wonderful. I think it's dreadful, but I'll try to be polite. Or maybe I'd rather not offer an opinion. You know what? Let's go ahead and call it wonderful. I mean, Jack's been such a nice host. It really is a wonderful place. I'm enjoying it very much. Oh, Hina, thank you. It warms my old bones to hear you say that. We're all so proud of our town, and I couldn't tell you how much work everyone has put into it. They'll be so glad to know it hasn't gone unappreciated. Well, maybe we should go ahead and give our farewell. So, let's thank Jack for his hospitality. Why, think nothing of it, friend. I only hope you'll be back again soon. Let's head further east. To Curling Flower Space. Colors flow and mingle, turquoise into lavender, pale cream into indigo, rolling in fat raindrops down from liquefying petals, drenching the soil, impregnating the dark earth, the deep blackness of the earth. The maiden and her knight lie sinking into melting lilies. To the south and west are other spaces. Let's examine the maiden. In a tangle of clinging arms lie the maiden and her knight. Together they shed tears enough to dissolve a universe of flowers. The shared sorrow that afflicts their coupled hearts is unknowable, innominable. It is none of your business. The maiden's eyes are shut by sleeping draught. Her neck and cheek are chill and pale as ice. Her dark lips part in silent choking sobs. Her emerald gown and black curling hair have melted with her lush array of flowers into a rippling sea of color. And the knight? The knight has cast off his helm, has collapsed into the waters of his lady's emerald gown. His armor is already smeared with rust. His left hand isn't pressed against his lady's back, but clutched tight around something. We examine left hand. You pull at the gauntlet until the knight's fingers open at last. In his palm lies a tarnished key. You grab it. The empty hand now finds the maiden's back and pulls her tighter against the knight. Let's examine this key. The stubby key operates the faucet at the equipment shed. The water from that faucet probably tastes terrible, but it's not tainted with episcophocetin, and you need to drink as much of it as you can before you pass out. Okay. Here's back to Halloween Town, and back to Hjeldheim, and then north to Ron Paul 2012. Ron Paul 2012. It's just all Ron Paul 2012. Let's go north. Coils of Ahigu. Step no further, Hina Shiroiwa. Shiroiwa, you have reached the end of your journey. You have wandered into a domain where I alone hold sway. I, the world serpent Ahigu. Behold my vastness. Here there is no earth nor sky, only the infinite twisting of my scaled body. No tail have I, nor arms, nor legs, but look upon my face, my deadly fangs, upon the venom that will be your death. No, not yet. I will allow you to live, but you will not continue east into the Hall of Judgment. Turn back, go southwards, and reflect upon your deplorable failure. We tried to examine Ahigu. I am Ahigu, the endless worm. I am all around you. You can see nothing but my rippling coils, my cavernous maw, my dripping fangs. We try to talk to Ahigu. There is no need to speak. My knowledge in this domain is absolute. What do you wish to know, mortal? My true nature? Why I won't let you move forward? How to leave this place? Or would you rather I stopped reading your mind? True nature. I am the world called Ahigu, the primal serpent. I predate your fleshy pink existence by some millennia. In the Torah, I curse mankind with knowledge and death. In the Eddas, my venom fells the god of thunder. In the Vedas, I encircle the waters of creation and bring drought upon the world. What else? Why I won't let you move forward? I do this for your own protection, Hina. You are not prepared for what awaits you in the Hall of Judgment. To continue eastward would take more fortitude than you can muster. You are only one Hina, after all. How to leave this place? I am a merciful world serpent. I will allow you to return south to that realm whence you came. I do not sense within you the gratitude such a gesture merits. So be it. Or would you rather I stop reading your mind? Very well. So if we tried to go east? Fool! I warned you not to go any further. I have no choice. My jaws close around your hand. Yes, the pain is unbearable. You writhe in agony. But I will show you some small compassion. My venom will only torture you briefly, and then you will have the strength to stand again. See? You still live. You're welcome. Just don't try it again. Ah, Hina, I know you are not so stupid as to try that a second time. Turn around and leave. Walk among the monuments to your failure. Do not further test my mercy. Very well. Let's go south. Again. And east. East. And examine the flowers. Sweet amaranth within wreaths of ultramarine and pale cream symbolize immortality, melting in the sun, diluting in the flood, fading and dying in the earth. Drops of color are swallowed in the soil and soak into thick woven roots twisting through rotten bricks. Bricks crumble in the grasp of roots, and red fragments sink into the wet bones of the earth. Roots worm through ancient brick, digging down to the wet bones of the earth. In the deep earth lie corpses of nameless monsters, their bones dripping black ichor, staining buried remnants of forgotten eons, artifacts lost when the earth was young. You see a photograph of two people buried in depths beyond the reach of memory. You can't make out their faces in the darkness. You see a necklace, too, glittering in the distant light that glows beneath the lightless depths. A colorless jewel is set in the necklace. The jewel is invisible but for the light reflected in its facets, light from veins of metal deep below. Veils of luminous metal run through the earth, over caves where titanic spiders sleep, awaiting the dawning of their age. The day has not yet come when the great spiders must be unleashed, for now they sleep, and guard the heathen temples that are charged to them. Beneath even the caverns of the giant spiders are shrines built by inhuman hands to honor inhuman spirits. Their altars have crumbled under primal rivers in which blind, translucent cave fish wriggle and spawn. Water pierces every layer of the earth, running through its roots, flowing over subterranean mountains, sinking down to the bottom of the world, where cold streams peopled by blind cavefish flow over the tomb of the weeping night. Here in the uttermost depths of the earth is where the knight lies sepulchred with his maiden in a bed of melting lilies. I feel like we've come full circle. But yeah, there's a lot more going on here than might be immediately evident. Let's go south. A cloud of yellowish smoke billows over you, stinging your eyes, burning your lungs. You fall to your knees. No, you need to keep going. Get up. Focus. Inferno. Tall tongues of flame line the passage toward the dais where Negahina lounges on her thorny couch. Hot, dry wind whistles through narrow windows. Your only hope of escape is in returning to the north. You're here! Finally, Negahina groans. I have been so friggin' bored. We examine her. Her face is your face, down to the furrow in your forehead, and you recognize her body as your body, stretched out like a cat on a leather couch. She's your exact double, except for her horns and her fangs and her glistening red skin. My cat has arrived and is interested in a treat, so I'm going to pause here. Pausing until, let's say, 10:25 for me to go give them their evening treat, and I will return momentarily. All right, where were we? Unpausing. Well, let's examine her couch. Negahina luxuriates on a divan of shining black leather, studded with sharpened ivory tusks that circle her like rapacious teeth. Four steep stairs raise Negahina's couch over the passage below. Let's talk to her. You take an uncertain step toward the dais. She waves you closer. Don't be shy. We have a lot of work to do. Who are you? Oh, come on. You know exactly who I am. You're just not comfortable with me. Here she uses finger quotes for some reason. So you tried to get rid of me. But it turns out you can't get rid of me. And actually, you don't want to get rid of me. You'll be a lot better off when we start working together. I don't know about that. How can you put this politely? I'm sorry, but I don't think I feel comfortable accepting a naked devil lady as an element of my psychology. She rolls her eyes. You're being really literal about this, Normal Hina. You're a succubus. You're trying to tell me all my problems are about being repressed, and if I embrace my sexuality, that it'll somehow fix everything. Negahina drags her claws down over her face. Oh my gosh, that's not what's going on here at all. Well, maybe you could explain what really is going on here. Gladly. That's what I'm actually here for anyway, is to friggin' explain things. So let's ask, what is this place? That's an interesting question, actually. We're in two places at once. Physically, this is the end of the sidewalk, where Xavier drew his bodacious drawing. But experientially, we're in... Negahina leans down and whispers, Heck. Are you not able to say hell for some reason? She answers with a pout and a little who even cares shrug. Then an awful thought occurs to you. Are you saying Xavier drew a naked picture of me on the sidewalk? No, no, no. You're just interpreting me in the context of your emotional baggage. Would Xavier know about this birthmark? She adjusts her hip out at you in an unnecessarily slinky manner. I guess not. Let's ask about one of the places. Let's ask what's going on in general first. Can you tell me just generally what's going on? She cocks her head. I mean, sure, if you want. I feel like you have everything pretty much figured out already, though. I don't want to waste time explaining stuff you already know. That's very considerate of you. I know, but it's up to you. Do you feel like you need some extra clarification? Now, this is a point which I kind of go back and forth on, because to me, part of the joy of the text is in experiencing the text and getting these little optional additional dialogues. I realize that's not strictly necessary, and that is in some way contrary to what they are trying to achieve here, but I would like that, yes. I guess it couldn't hurt. She nods. All right, what can I clarify for you? Let's start with the sand sculpture event. Go all the way back to Natalie's sand sculpture event. Sure. So, Natalie loves sand for some reason, and she made the honors program do a sand sculpture event on the streets outside the honors center, and it sucked because sand is horrible. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets friggin' everywhere, and you have to shovel it and keep it wet. It's stupid. So everybody on the committee never wanted to see another sand sculpture event ever again, and it fell to you to tell Natalie how everybody felt. Of course. Of course. But when you found her, she had been enjoying some mind-expanding substances that made her unreceptive to the news, and she got all mad. Did she think it was a foregone conclusion that we'd have a sand sculpture event every year from then on? Maybe? I don't know what's going on with her, but apparently she never forgave you, because here we are. Is there anything else I can explain? Let's get an explanation about when Lane fainted. Why did Lane faint? Aha! Well, at first it looked like the heat got to her, but I'm pretty sure it's because she was drinking so many bottles of water that Natalie laced with a piscophycetin. Because now everyone else has fainted too, and you're having a bunch of vivid hallucinations. Yeah, that tracks. Anything else? Let's see what's going on with Alec. What happened to Alec? I don't know. I think it might be that he and Jessica just really love each other, and the Episcopalian is making them be weird about it. I never thought of Alec as having sincere feelings like that. Well, you can never really know what's going on with another person. You only have access to whatever they present to you. You can't even really know yourself, because you're only able to observe yourself using yourself. What? Forget it. Let's talk about something else. It's about everyone acting weird. What made everyone at the sidewalk chalk tournament start acting so weird? They were all drinking the water Natalie brought, and Natalie friggin' spiked the water with the Pescofcetan to mess with you as revenge. Can she do that? Yes. Unless you mean, can she do that legally? No, she can't. But she'll get away with it unless you friggin' do something about it. Okay, geez, I'll do something about it. Negahina presses her palms together, closes her eyes. Sorry, I got excited. What else can I tell you about? About the chalk drawings. What happened to the chalk drawings? Negahina takes a deep breath. It's like this. You are high on Episcopalian from Natalie's water bottles. You're hallucinating. So you're experiencing all the chalk drawings as if they were real, as if you were walking around inside them. Like in Mary Poppins? Sure, kind of. I don't think there was any drug use in Mary Poppins. That's not what I meant. Sorry, I'm just trying to be as clear as possible. Is there anything else you need me to explain? Now, let's go back. And let's go ahead and ask about the places we've been. Let's go from proximity to distance. Let's go with curling flower space. What was that place with all the melting flowers? That's just Jessica's entry. Alec must have spilled his bucket of water on it somehow. Oh, you nod. Negahina squints at you. You did realize that was Alec and Jessica back there, right? Of course I did, you fire back indignantly. Okay. Let's ask about Halloween Town. What do you know about Halloween Town and Jack Skellington? Negahina raises a cautionary finger. I know that guy is way too nice. I don't trust nice people. That's a terrible attitude. Well, you can try going through life associated with nice people and being nice to them in return and see where it gets you. Sounds great. Maybe I'll go talk to Jack instead of you. Great, go do that. I would, but I'm not finished here yet. Is that so? You need more help from me, even though I'm not nice? Negahina gives you some big fake doe eyes. Let's ask about the Kingdom of Kjaldheim. What exactly is the Kingdom of Kjaldheim? It's from Jonathan's doofy novel. He told you all about it that one time in the Honor Center. I don't remember that. She sighs hard enough to make her chest jiggle a little. You don't think you remember it, but believe me, he told you all about it. Let's ask about Rachel's artwork. What do you think of Rachel's entry? Well, she did what she said she was going to do. I guess that's honorable. You get the impression that Negahina does not value honor very highly. Should I have told her she had to do something else? She throws up her hands. It's your sidewalk chalk thing. Just tell people whatever you want. Let's ask about the coils of Ahigu. So, there's this gigantic snake guy. Yeah, Ahigu. So freaking cool. Well, he won't let me get to the equipment shed. If I try to get past him, he'll venom me to death. Huh. Negahina strokes her chin. You know, Princess Hebron of Skjaldheim, mistress of the Fortress Kynebrand, she wears a magic bracelet called Hlutorbeg. The Stone Elves made it for her. It's supposed to grant its wearer immunity to poison. How do you remember all this? She shakes her head wearily. Last January, you and Jonathan were in the Honor Center, and he was telling you all about his novel while you were trying to study for an exam. You tried so hard to ignore him, but unfortunately, your subconscious mind absorbed every friggin' detail. Did I retain anything for the exam? Negahina shrugs. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. But if you go back to Kjaldheim and get that bracelet, it might let you get past Ahigu. Well, last time I was there, I couldn't really observe or touch anything. Yeah, because you lacked perspective. You didn't have the context necessary to interpret what you were seeing. That's the value of conversations like these. Well, never mind then. I guess we're armed with the information we need to proceed. But just to confirm, what am I even supposed to be doing here? You don't want Negahina to think you're flailing, so you ask very casually, what do you think I ought to do next? She counts on her fingers. Go back over to Kjaldheim. Get down inside it like you were earlier. Find the bracelet Ludor bag and put it on. And then see if Ahugo can still venom you to death. Okay. Let's stop talking to Negahina. I should probably get going, actually. Sure. Negahina nods emphatically. And yeah, if you need anything else. Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. I'll be here. Right. So, we look once more. Back to the north. Let's actually examine the windows first. Beyond these walls is a world of burning stone beneath a black sky. Winged shapes flit through the steam, and cries of anguish echo out of sightless canyons. Okay, north. And west. And west, to the kingdom of Kjaldheim. You are floating above the icy realm of Kjaldheim. Let's go down. You've spent more than enough time down in Kjaldheim, and your face is rubbed raw. Are you sure you want to go back? Yes. Then you descend again into that frost-ringed realm. In eternal winter's grasp rests icy Kjaldheim, where was raised snow-heavy Byringsburg, throne of Kerep, bearer of the pallid crown. Long has Kerep reigned in peace, long have his enemies waited to rise up in war against him. Let's go northeast. The hovel of the weaver Kedmid, who fashioned bright Thripfene. Battle heavy was the tapestry burdened by blood that told of King Kareth. You can only go northeast, etc., etc. Let's go northeast. The fields of Grekki roll onto the northern shores of Kjaldheim. Here wander the Brugh Grekki wolves, sharp-toothed protectors of the hill-farer Spjeltmare. West here is the corpse-grey corves of Nexith, dwells skin-eating Ermend, troll disaster of the north, alone with his wife-sister Norheg. Not a little despise they the sun-bright snow, yet by night they creep to farmers' huts and weavers' hovels, and in darkness seek to eat the skin of men. West from here, lost forever upon the coldness of Terpesti, lies Dorfirdrecht, bright ring of gold, its gleaming wheel long unfilled by finger. Let's go southwest to the mountain of Irpalind, called Dexikring by elk folk, where lairs the dragon Lukender. Fangfoe, he froze the hero Estenlik. By his snow breath fell Bedpel and Hirpkliot, strong axe friends. Their swords and skulls lay shattered in Tervesti. Let's go east from here to the river Thorn, abode of thick-browed Garnmen. Ash-white is the tusk of the Cranpal, sea-black its empoisoned tongue. East to the hovel of the Weaver, we have... Here are the ice caves of Niemann, creeps the ice bat Geparkane, sovereign of vermin. 5 are the wives of Geparkane, Bereskion the jealous, Nepeth the wicked, Aspielt the moist, Ekgemark the clinging, and Helebriok the furious. We go southeast. Here's Offlick raised this Thringstone, where Rorkus was crown bearer. We went west to the sword of Blidbraid, Gyoldrick in the snow-lapped valley Milkus dwelt. West here is the Byringsburg throne of Kareth. West is the frozen swamp of Ilreknes, where the mare witch Agathe in her branch hive composes her awful curses upon the princess of Kjaldheim, favorite daughter of Kareth, love wife of Negol. West to beneath the tall grave hills of Ibringspal rest 30 fallen kings and queens of Kjaldheim, their white skeletons locked in stout corpse chests. Not soon is the day they will don again their bright crowns. Okay, southeast. We're going southeast to deep Unfilpisk, the lake of weeping, whereinto Queen Frith cast her unwanted infant Paislich. Paislich was by Lake Otters weaned, and wears now the white breastplate of the Lake Otters lord. No great grudge bears he against his birthing mother. East to Stendrard was slain by High Marshal Krongfirth for want of Nipsendi's breast coffin. Here his corpse grave of death-cold Alpstone lay snow-locked these 4,000 years. I use a lot of hyphens in my writing, but this is absurd. Let's go east to deep in the Pilkwood stand the 9 Eithing stones, snow-clothed, unremembered by men. The days of the frost wenches was a merriment danced round the henges, weaving and warping did they dance, to forge the braided glimmer of the crown of bronze. Upon the eastern shore of Kjaldheim stands the village Tything, Merriment of mead drinkers. Here Dregard and Hjortik dwell, forgers of the Rose Axe Felorchris and the Windhelm Beitrande. Southwest, to over the plain of Guruk, wanders the spirit Lekgethor, ghost of Norgelt, slain by the Hellsteed Riosik, ridden by Yignared, vassal of Kerfek. West, to the fortress Kynebrand, is Hebron's home, fastness of stone, where wedding was made twixt she and Negel the sea sailor, murderer of Mundraid. On Hebron's arm rests Hlutorbeg, famed silver ring by stone elves wrought. She who wears that bracelet fears no poison, nor snake sting, nor spider bite, nor cranwall tongue. Take Hlutorbeg. Gladly does Princess Hebron bestow upon you the beloved bracelet Hlutorbeg, and wishes you well in your future endeavors. We examine at Stone Elves forged this silver bracelet for Princess Hebron, with grim stone runes inscribed it. It said that whoever wears Hlutorbeg can resist any poison. Up. Do you wish to leave Kjeldheim? Yeah. Okay, yes. Then away you fly. You are floating above the icy realm of Kjeldheim. North. To Ron Paul 2012. And north again. I am carrying Hlutorbeg. Wear it. You slip the heavy silver bracelet over your arm. Let's hope this works. Okay, stop reading my mind. There you go. We go east. What do you think you're doing? Don't you know what will happen if you disobey my commands? My coils wind tight around you. I sink my fangs into your neck. My venom fills your veins. You will not live to regret this mistake, Hina. No one will learn from your insolence. Your pathetic story ends here. Why are you still alive? The bracelet Hlutorbeg! It can't be! Where? How could you? Oh, forget it. I know when I'm beat. Just get out of here. Hall of Judgment. A few feeble fluorescent lamps illuminate this stretch of the tunnel. Further east and west, the lights are out, and the hallway stretches into darkness. Lane's unconscious body is stretched out on the dingy tiled floor. This is your fault, she says. Let's examine Lane first. Her eyes are closed. Her hair is half fallen in front of her face. The way her arms and legs are arranged doesn't look very comfortable. You lean down to talk to Lane. Her eyes are still closed. Are you okay? I'm so sorry, or I'll be right back. You put a hand on her forehead. Are you okay? Lane's face grimaces. Not really. Actually, I'm in pretty bad shape. You've got a lot to answer for. I know, but right now I need to get... No. Right now is when you're going to answer some questions. First off, why didn't you call an ambulance as soon as I fainted? I thought I could handle everything myself. I thought Lane was just dehydrated. Or it was my responsibility. I think it was my responsibility. I felt obligated to take care of you on my own. I was in charge of the event. When an emergency came up, it was my job to handle it. So it was an ego thing. It was a responsibility thing. The responsible thing would have been to call an ambulance. That's easy to say in hindsight. I made a decision based on the information I had at the time. I thought you said you made the decision based on you being the one in charge. You grit your teeth. Lane's body decides it's time to move on. All right, next question. Why on earth did you trust Natalie to be the hydration officer? She deserved a second chance. I didn't think she would retaliate like this, or I was desperate. I didn't think she would retaliate like this. There's no way I could have predicted she would dose everybody. But you knew she was angry at you. You knew she was an unstable nut job. No, I didn't. I don't go through life assuming the worst of people. Well, maybe you should. You squint at Lane's unconscious body. Hold on, do you represent a part of my personality that's terrible? I'm asking the questions here. Why did you tell Alec to erase Xavier's artwork? What does that have to do with anything? Because you fainted. Because of the boobs. Let's go straight forward to number 3. Because of the boobs. You can't draw a sexy demon lady on public sidewalk, especially for an honor-sponsored event. Kids walk on these sidewalks. Old ladies who love to write angry letters walk on these sidewalks. I guess that makes sense, says Lane's body, obviously a bit disappointed. So are we done here? We're not done until I say we're done, Lane's body grunts. And yes, now we're done. Great. You stand up and wipe the dust from the floor off your butt. We continue east to desert. Everything is sand. Sand dunes roll over the planet, shimmering in impossible heat. Yellow sand crusts over your sweaty skin. Sand is in your teeth. Sand is in your eyes. You want to scream. A gleaming pillar of brass juts out of the sand. We examine the pillar. The pipe is polished brass. At the top of it is a spigot. On top of the spigot is an empty slot. Put key in slot. You raise the key over its slot. Something slams into your back, and you fall on your face in the sand. No, no, not yet, a voice bellows. Natalie. We still have some psychic baggage to unpack. We can't move forward as human beings if you get all sobered up. You roll onto your side to spit up a mouthful of sand. Natalie chuckles, and the world shakes. We examine Natalie. Natalie is a fifth-year senior of colossal aspect, forged from dazzling bronze. The towers of her legs rise up into the clouds. Her hair scrapes against the firmament of heaven. You twist your body to try to face her. You open your mouth. Natalie smiles patiently. Do you want? You eventually manage. Hina, I want you to grow as a person. I want you to understand how unbearable you are, how miserable you make everybody because of your pathological need to be in control. I'm not... You can't finish the thought. Oh, you will be, she says, once you've finished broadening your perspective. Do you need another bottle of water? You shake your head. And we climb Natalie. You can't even stand, and Natalie is 90 feet tall. How are you going to do anything to her from down in the sand? Can we dig? You paw through the sand. There's nothing down there. You dig desperately, just more sand. You reach deeper and deeper. You're wasting your time. We can grab a handful of sand. Let me, you gasp. Let you what? I need to... The key. Oh, I get what you mean. Natalie nods. Yeah, I can't let you do that. You're on the precipice of self-actualization. You just have to power through until you understand what a pathetic little jerk you've been. Yeah, I didn't think that'd be a verb. Throw sand at Natalie. Your arms are like jelly. You don't have the strength. A futile moan is all you can muster. Excuse me just a moment. Natalie leans down to look at you. What did you just say? Are you breaking through your preconceptions? Are you having a eureka moment? She brings her face close to yours, searching for signs of a breakthrough. Now she's close enough. You throw the sand into her eyes. Natalie shrieks and falls backward, clawing at her face. Eventually, her screams become a series of expletives that do not bear detailed transcription. You wrap your fingers around the spigot and pull yourself up. Your arms are so weak. Your mouth is so dry. It takes both hands to get the key into its slot on top of the spigot. You turn the key. Water spurts out of the spigot, clear, pure water flowing into the sand, splashing all over your hands and your arms and your clothes. Drink water. You stick your face beneath the spigot and let the water fall into your mouth. It's not cold,
but it's not as hot as everything else. It tastes amazing. When you can't drink any more, you fall back into the sand. The desert has shrunk, and there's a shed here that wasn't there before. No, you tell yourself, the shed was always here. The desert isn't even a desert. It's just a pit of sand where Natalie, a normal-sized person, is rubbing her eyes and crying a little. Finally, you're beginning to think clearly. The end. Would you like to view some supplemental materials? Yes. I was hoping you'd say that. Please press any key to continue. Office. Appendix. Thunder rumbles far away. Office. The place is kind of a mess. There's not enough space on the desk, so a bunch of documents are taped to the walls. The whiteboard easel is an inherently awkward object and manages to take up a lot of space. The rolling chair is shoved into a corner. There isn't really room to walk around in here while someone is sitting at the desk. Narrow passages lead northwest and southwest. Rain taps steadily on the window. I examine the chair. It's a piece of junk, but they'll never get around to replacing it. The desk? There's papers and stuff all over the place, and I guess some of it is kind of interesting. On the desk are a photograph of a birdhouse, a sheaf of legal documents, and a discharge summary. A wastebasket is tucked underneath. I examine the wastebasket. Luckily, the cleaning staff don't come up here very often, so if something ends up in the trash by accident, there's plenty of time to recover it. In the wastebasket is an arcane diagram. I examine the diagram. There's a lot going on here. A bunch of squares and triangles, a diamond with a cross on top of it, the words wet, cold, wet, hot, dry, hot, and an extremely crude drawing of a medieval castle. Surely there's more interesting reading material around here. Examine the picture of the birdhouse. A picture of a blue birdhouse on a wooden post, surrounded by flat yellow rocks. I guess this isn't directly related to the event in question. It's actually a sneaky reference to another Ryan Veeder game by the name of Renlaw. Let's examine the legal documents. There are a few different drafts of the same document here. On top is the final version. The narrative compiled here purports to reflect only the recollections of the individuals involved. By continuing, you concede that I, the editor, bear no responsibility for the felicitous representation of any objective fact associated with this narrative. Furthermore, you swear or affirm that you will not issue to the editor or publicly report any corrections or recriminations concerning this narrative's accuracy, geographical, historical, medical, meteorological, or otherwise. Oh, right, this is that thing you agreed to earlier. What a helpful reminder for you. We examine the discharge summary. That's just Natalie's documentation from when she got out of rehab. I think if I tell you any of the details, it's a HIPAA violation. Documents? Which do you mean, the desk, the sheaf of legal documents, or the wall? Well, we mean the wall. Numerous pieces of paper have been taped to the wall, with painter's tape, so as not to arouse the ire of the building's custodial staff. Some of it might bear a closer look. On the wall are a class photo, an angry letter, and an orchestra poster. We examine the class photo. Here we have a bunch of very happy children, each one holding a papier-mâché puppet in the shape of a different animal. The craftsmanship of these puppets is about what you'd expect from third graders. The teacher's puppet is a little more polished and has an arm that she can manipulate with a rod. Written on the back, September 19th, 2019. Somehow these little rascals found out that their teacher would soon be starring in a computer game. I told them they'd have to wait until they were a little older to play it. Then they started babbling about what kinds of horribly violent video games their parents let them play, and I had to tell them it was a game you have to read with no graphics. That cooled them down somewhat. Sorry. I found your recent proposal very intriguing. Unfortunately, it's too late in the semester to organize anything like that. Remind me next year. But before then, finish a rope of chalk. Hina. The I is dotted with a heart, sarcastically. Please don't get the wrong idea. Angry letter. Mr. Veeder, I have taken time to evaluate your story, Aesthetics of Impermanence, A Rope of Chalk, as you requested. After careful consideration, I've concluded that I cannot lend my expertise to your work in any capacity until drastic changes are made. The depiction of Epescophacetan-induced hallucination in your story as a fun, fairy tale-like dream world is grossly irresponsible and misleading. The medical accuracy with which you are so concerned is secondary to your social responsibility in representing the effects of Epescophacetan abuse, a responsibility that you have thus far ignored. Following is a list of story elements that must be revised before I can move forward as your consultant. There are a couple more sheets attached to this, but I don't know where they went. Let's examine the orchestra poster. This is a poster for the Scottish Chamber Orchestra. All the musicians are holding their instruments and smiling on some huge staircase somewhere in Edinburgh. In front is the conductor with the biggest smile of all. I guess it's hard to see why I would have this. The woman in the back with the bassoon is Jessica Marinakis, and actually her smile might be the biggest. Let's look once more. Whiteboard easel. It's a flimsy, collapsible easel. It doesn't belong in the building. It was a gift from a high school teacher who got frustrated with its flimsiness. On the easel is a whiteboard. There are a bunch of illegible notes and weird schematics on this whiteboard. Almost everything has been crossed out. Why not erased? To indicate that it's been taken care of. But here are some recognizable names. 0, the cave. 1, the deluge. 2, the beast. 3, the fortress. 4, the eyes. Hey, that's not right. We have narrow passages to the northwest and southwest, and rain tapping on a window. Let's examine that window before we wander around. It's just a little window, but the view is great. The roofs of different parts of the building, all glistening in the rain, and beyond that, the gold dome of the old Capitol. At the bottom of the window frame, there's a jagged piece of metal sticking out. If we examine it, it looks like something got snapped off. Hey, be careful, it's sharp. I wonder. I feel like I should know more about this, but I don't remember the details. Let's examine the rain. Okay, yeah, it just shows the same view. Let's try going to the northwest first. Library. This is only a room by virtue of being hemmed in by a bunch of tall bookshelves. In the middle of the space is a long table covered in research materials. Narrow passages lead southeast, south, and southwest. The table is sort of the shape of a conference table, but I don't know how you'd fit a conference table in this tiny space. There might be something cool to look at here. On the long table are a lengthy letter, a cardboard box closed, a pile of sketches, and a handwritten letter. We examine the lengthy letter first. Dear Ryan, I'm happy to answer this and any other questions you might have. Don't hesitate to write again if there's anything else you'd like to ask about. Shelley Lampada, our faculty advisor, dissolved the Honors Arts Committee shortly after the Sidewalk Chalk tournament. Early in the spring semester, Faye Thompson proposed resurrecting the committee. She had just read about Nuit Blanche and wanted to recreate the concept on the University of Iowa campus. Shelley only agreed to allow an exploratory committee to assess the feasibility of such an event. Understandably, Hina and Alec were reluctant to participate, but Faye managed to wrangle me in. She had little luck convincing anyone else to join. The committee consisted of Faye, myself, and freshman Elena Merrick. It was around this time that Faye and I became romantically involved, an arrangement that did not prove conducive to large-scale event planning. In retrospect, I think Shelley had hoped all along that Faye would eventually abandon the Nuit Blanche proposal. To Shelley's chagrin, despite having made no demonstrable progress in assessing feasibility after 2 months, Faye refused to concede. Shelley eventually dissolved our committee, and the Nuit Blanche concept would not be realized until 2014. However, Shelley left the honors program at the end of the spring 2012 semester. Her replacement, Isaac Diston, was less wary of trusting underclassmen with arts events. He permitted the Nuit Blanche exploratory committee to reconvene as a full-fledged arts committee. We were allowed to organize a semester opening event of our own, with the caveats that it be conducted indoors with what he called a buttload of faculty supervision. I apologize if I've gone into excessive detail. To answer your question, yes, we did have another honors arts event in August 2012. Faye, Elena, and I hung butcher paper on the walls of the honors center, and students were encouraged to draw all over it with crayons. Nothing approaching the drama of the previous 2 years' events transpired. Thank you for writing. I hope you are well and that your work is going smoothly. Sincerely, Lane Mulville. Wind whistles sharply outside. We examine the cardboard box. There are some shipping labels on the side of the box, but I shouldn't be giving you any addresses. If we open it, we reveal an index card and a bunch of ribbons. On the card it says, I found these the other day. I never got a chance to pass them out after the event, so I guess I brought them home and squirreled them away and completely forgot about them. I thought you should have them. By the way, I gave your game another look, and I think you made me too mean to Alec. I know it's from his perspective, but I don't remember being that nasty. Maybe you could put a disclaimer in there that says I'm actually very nice? Good luck finishing it. Okay, fine. Victoria Graham is very nice. What else did we have on the table? We had... Oh, right, the ribbons. They're like ribbons you'd pin to people's lapels at a state fair, all in different colors, but none of them say first place or second place or anything like that. This one says, great work, and this one says, excellence, and there are 3 that all say, best judge. That's fun. We examine sketches. A note is paperclipped on top of the sketches. Hey, Ryan. Unfortunately, I don't have any photos of my entry from the incident. There was a big storm right after Hina called the police. Everything got washed away. I do have some sketches I drew to prepare for the event, and I thought they might be useful. X. The drawings are of a sultry demoness in several different states of undress. In one, she's sitting on a throne made of skulls. Each printout has a copyright Xavier Denary watermark somewhere on it. Cool. Handwritten. Natalie's handwriting is very narrow and slanted, very European, not especially easy to read. Dear Ryan, 3 things. First, I hope everything is going well with your work. Second, I have kind of a strange request. Lucas and I are planning, or trying, or hoping to adopt a child. We've been discussing the idea since forever, but we've both been too intimidated by the idea to take any concrete action until just recently. Obviously, it's very difficult for someone with a criminal record to get approved, but fortunately, with the agency we're looking at, it's still technically possible, if you can get enough people to vouch for you. Luke suggests that I ask you to be a character reference. I feel like I should stress that it was his idea. Not that I think it's a bad idea, but Luke pointed out that nobody else is so intimately familiar with my case and can speak to the extent of my rehabilitation the way you can. I completely understand if you're not comfortable getting yourself entrenched in the very thorny process of adoption application, but please take it under consideration. Anyway, 3rd thing. Our yoga studio was in the local paper. I'm including a clipping. Don't worry, I have approximately 20 copies of this issue. Look at how professional we look. Doesn't that look like a couple you'd want to help with their adoption application? Love, Natalie. Well, obviously I helped them out. This letter is from like 3 years ago. I think their kid's name is Ethan. I have no idea what happened to the newspaper clipping. Okay, that's cool. What else have we got? We've got bookshelves. It looks like all the books here are medical journals. To be perfectly honest, I've never cracked any of them open. We've got south and southeast. Let's go south first to Narrow Hall. A claustrophobic passage runs north and south. I don't think this part of the building was originally designed to be office space, is the thing. South again to lounge. Lounge might be overstating it a bit. There are a couple of vinyl couches here, and a mini fridge, and an ominous miniature door. Next to each couch is an end table with a little lamp. Which do you mean, the east end table or the west end table? Look at the west one first. A boxy table with a wood veneer surface, indistinguishable from its partner, but this one has a different lamp on top. On the west end table is a thick novel. The cover reads, Frost Wenches of Kjeldheim, a prelude to the Kjeldheim sequence. Then there's a picture of a frost wench contemplating an orb. Beneath that is the name Jonathan de Vries in an intimidating serif font. A scrap of paper falls out of the book as you open it. Here's an excerpt. A sound from beyond the door. Footsteps. Hilger bristled. We aren't alone, are we? I always travel with my guards, said Imrod. Hilger needed not her drillcraft to see through his deceit. If I don't go willingly, she whispered, will you take me to type thing by force? Imrod closed his eyes, shook his head. No, no, the Reeve little wants to welcome a frostwench into his walls. My single mission is to retrieve for him the Gethorskraft, which Kjaldla holds as his by right. It is this that I will take to typing, he said, now fixing his gaze on Hilger, willingly or by force. We heed not the Kjaldla in this wood, Hilger whispered. She clasped her pale fingers round her amulet. And tonight you will learn why the Reeve of Typing so fears the frostwenches, and so on, in like fashion. Examine the scrap of paper. Ryan, wondering if you've given any thought to my pitch for a text adventure set in Kjeldheim. The setting has huge potential for the interactive fiction space. This weekend I'll be playing Zork to get a feel for the style. Exciting! Let's examine the east end table. A boxy table with wood veneer surface indistinguishable from its partner, but this one has a different lamp on top. On the east end table is a chapbook. A little slim hand-bound book. The cover says, Bird Poems, I Wrote 'em, Alec Arden. Beneath that, there's a crude line drawing of a black-capped chickadee. Wind whistles sharply outside. Someone, not me, has taken a thick marker to this book and scribbled over most of the poems. This stanza is circled, though. Oh, drop me not on the sidewalk, look. The swarming harpies of night descend to roil my hair with sweat and snap my shivering bones out of joint. Defend me, Mona. Take my arm over you and remind my knees how they're supposed to bend. Okay. Let's examine the west lamp. Examine lamp. Which do you mean, the mushroom-shaped lamp or the flower-shaped lamp? The lamp on the east table is a minimalist mushroom-shaped piece of red plastic. You flick on the lamp. The lamp itself glows red, but it doesn't do much to illuminate anything else. The lamp's frosted glass shade is shaped like a daisy. You pull the switch and the little room gets very bright. Perhaps uncomfortably bright by some standards. Let's turn it back off. You pull the switch and the room seems very dark all of a sudden, but then your eyes adjust. Couch. Which do you mean, the blue couch or the orange couch? Examine the blue couch. It's a two-seater bench-type thing covered in bright blue vinyl. It's really more of a waiting room couch than a lounge couch. I don't know that's a distinction I would have drawn. Like, those two... I guess I don't have a good sense in my mind what differentiates a lounge from a waiting room. Have I ever seen a lounge before? I've spent a lot of time in virtual reconstructions of lounges, but I don't know what a lounge is. Let's examine the orange. It's a two-seater bench-type thing covered in bright orange vinyl. It doesn't clash with the blue one as badly as you might think. Okay, fair enough. What's going on with this door? Oh, a mini fridge. Let's examine the mini fridge. Between the two end tables is a modest mini fridge. There's a magnet stuck to the door. One more MRI and I'll stick to the fridge. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm not a radiologist. You open the mini fridge, revealing a frozen Snickers bar. It's a normal-sized Snickers bar in its wrapper. It is cold. You pull open the wrapper. You take a bite out of the Snickers. It's good when it's cold, right? In my opinion, putting them in the freezer is a step too far, but this is delicious.
Before you know it, you've taken several more bites. I can at least confirm that in my own practice, I do prefer to refrigerate Hershey's almond chocolate bars, which I know American chocolate is awful by comparison to European chocolate, but if you develop the taste for it, as I have, having been raised in America, it's quite enjoyable, especially when eaten with like water, like just a glass of water with your chocolate makes it a lot better. So anyway, let's examine the small door now. Miniature. It's definitely not regulation door size. It kind of looks like it was carved out of the wall as an afterthought. The sign says, "Emergency exit only. Alarm will sound if opened." Fair enough. Open miniature. That just goes out onto the roof. You can leave it closed. Okay, fair enough. Let's look. Let's go to the northeast now. Hey, maybe close the refrigerator door first. Oh, fair enough. Close fridge. Northeast. Office. Come to think of it, office might be an overstatement too. The place is kind of a mess. There's not enough space on the desk, so a bunch of documents are taped to the walls. Oh, well, this is where we were before. Go southwest. And now northwest. Okay, classroom. Here's the new space. This is the classroom that time forgot. There's a chalkboard behind the podium, and the walls are done up in some very groovy red fabric. There are only 12 desks in here, and they're all in terrible shape. Come to think of it, I don't know if they even still teach any classes up here. The exits are northeast and southeast. One of the desks has a transcript sitting on it. This is clearly a printout of a notepad document. I guess not all of it is here. Interview with Faye Thompson, July 30th, 2017, page 4. RV. Does that, Alec's recollection, line up with what you remember? FT. Basically, yeah. Basically. RV. So then what happened after you talked to Alec? FT. I was alone for a while, and my mind was playing tricks on me. I got very paranoid. I kept hearing things that weren't there. It took me a while to realize Alec should have come back. So I went looking for him, and I saw him and Jessica holding each other on the ground. I thought they were... RV. I'm not sure what you mean. FT. I thought they were dead. I guess I was already hallucinating enough that made sense to me, so I ran out into the street crying for help. RV. Into the highway? I thought it was all blocked off for construction. FT. I don't remember. I might have jumped over the fence, I guess. I remember running across the torn-up street and running across the train tracks. RV. I think there are some bars and restaurants between the highway and the train tracks. FT. Yeah, but I don't remember those. I remember crawling up to the train tracks and over the tracks and down the incline to the river. A bunch of rocks down to the river. I skinned both my knees on those rocks. RV. Sympathetic noise. FT. I think I was about to run right into the river, but then this huge dog comes out of the water. RV. What? It continues on to the next page. Whoop. Read next page. Interview with Faye Thompson, July 30th, 2017, page 5. Can I just say, by the way, 2017, great year. I really enjoyed that one. FT. Well, he wasn't a real dog, which is ironic because 2017 actually had a lot of negative things happen in it. But despite all the bad events that happened that year for me, I still enjoyed it a lot. Anyway, FT. Well, he wasn't a real dog. RV. Oh, that makes... Sure. FT. He was huge, like the size of a wolf, but he had these big friendly eyes, and he started telling me that everything was going to be okay, and I just needed to stay put and calm down. He kind of talked me down, I guess. RV. Do you think it was a real person that you were hallucinating was a dog? Or a real dog that you were hallucinating was huge and could talk? FT. Well, he definitely came up out of the river, so... RV. Sure. FT. He stayed there and talked to me for a long time. And some of the stuff he said? Long pause. RV. We don't have to get into specifics. FT. Sorry, it's just... I don't know if I can put it into words. He understood some stuff that... He was a very smart dog. Let's put it that way. So maybe you can put that in the game somehow. RV. Gosh, yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully. RT. Can I ask you a question? Or FT. Can I ask you a question? RV. Sure. That's all there is. Let's examine the chalkboard. The chalkboard is blank. A piece of chalk rests on the sill. You can hear rain thrumming against the walls and roof. Examine the chalk. I'm sure that, to most people, this piece of chalk would look pretty innocuous, but you and I know better. I take the chalk. You wrote, on chalkboard, on the chalkboard. Well played, game. Well played. Is this a rotating type, or it's actually on the wall? Please leave that alone. Okay. We examine the podium now. A very simple wooden podium. There's no need for a microphone stand or a computer hookup or projector controls when the room only has a chalkboard. On the podium is a birth announcement. A deep rumbling reverberates somewhere in the distance. It might be thunder, or it might be a truck. We examine the birth announcement. This is a postcard with a picture of a tiny sleepy baby on it, along with the words, Introducing Mitchell Lee, June 1st, 2020 at 4:05 a.m., 7 pounds, 8 ounces, 21 inches. Welcomed by James, Rachel, and big brothers Jacob, Scott, William, and Levi. The other side of the card is blank. I think that accounts for everyone. You can quit the game whenever you like, or you can just hang out if you want. But having now completed our survey of A Rope of Chalk, we'll call it there. Thank you for joining me on the second half of our adventure, and we will reconvene again soon for another game. At this point, if I had any Patreon members, you would be treated to a screen showing their contributions, like the top members. That doesn't exist yet because there aren't any. So I have not felt compelled to add an end screen since there's nothing really to show yet, but perhaps someday. We'll see. Thanks again for watching.